Good evening and welcome to the May 19th, 2025 Board of Select Persons meeting. Please join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I look for a motion to approve the May 5th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? I look for a motion to accept the warrants.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right. And would somebody read the announcements, please?
The planning board will either have a meeting or workshop on Wednesday, May 21st at 7 p.m. to discuss the problems and problematic ordinances. The select board will meet on Tuesday, May 27th at 7 p.m. The municipal offices will be closed on Monday, May 26th for Memorial Day. The library will also be closed on Saturday, May 24th. The select board will meet every other Monday for the summer starting after Memorial Day. They will not meet on June 2nd, and the next meeting will be June 9th. The June vote will be held on Tuesday, June 10th from 8 to 8 p.m. at the Municipal Building. This will include the Select Board warrant and RSU 57 budget. The next semi-sesquicentennial meeting for the town's 250th anniversary will be Wednesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. at the fire station. Please reach out to Lisa LePage for more information at 651-1594 or lllepage6@yahoo.com. As a reminder, if you're speaking at any meeting, please go to the microphone so everyone will be able to hear. And as part of the hearing of citizens policy, no personal attacks on any individual or firm, including town employees, town officials, or members of the public, will be tolerated during any meetings. Please direct concerns about individual employees or town officials to the chairman of the board of select persons outside the public meeting. Please stay current with town information by visiting www.limerickme.org.
Thank you.
Hey Brady, before you go on, I couldn't jump in on the warrants before Wade started the announcements, but it kind of relates to the warrants and how we receive our invoices in mail. I know it's not on the agenda, but yep. We okay maybe trying to talk about that now because it's related to the warrants. So we paid, I don't know, some more than $2,000, almost $2,500 in late fees on fire station loan payments because the treasurer didn't get the statements or the bills. So there were 3 payments that were made late. There was $860 or $70. $861 and $861. They're going to reverse them?
One is so far, and they're working on the others, because that is the month that I was out in the hospital for a broken back. And the bill, I don't know, can't say where the bill went, but it's February that it started.
Yeah, well, December's was missed and February was missed, and then, anyways.
December was the result of us paying the loan payment, the big loan payment. I had it in my notes to tell you tonight.
Okay, well, either way, there was a warrant not long ago where we paid $1,700 in late fees on the check, right? There was one that we paid that, and it appears there's another 800 and something in the current one. So it's $2,500 because I think that somebody from the board should sit with everybody in the building and come up with a plan on mail retrieval and where it goes and who hands it out and how it's. I recommended a month ago that the office that Julie's office and Alicia's office get a timestamp, so when the bill gets opened, slide it in and get a date and a time on it. That way we know when it came in. Then there should be no question. So if a bill's showing up 3 weeks late, we can say, well, that's the reason. But with stuff just not knowing and not getting, here we are, we sat and hopefully the the bank will be kind enough and maybe reverse some of it, but there's other stuff that's had late fees, and it, you know, it's either for whatever reason, but we need to track the mail better somehow, so.
We've also got in the warrant this week, the bill in there it's dated February 24th, I believe. The purchase order was made out last Thursday.
What's it for?
Fire department. But there's a lot of them there. The POs are not being made out before a lot of the stuff is being purchased.
Okay,
And those POs should be coming down to the treasurer's office within a day after they're done, after they're made out.
I would think so.
So far, it's not
Unless
being done.
there was-
With some exceptions, there are a couple of them that are religious on it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was, which one was that for? I think there was something they were waiting for a completion of something, or didn't,
Yeah.
he didn't want to pay the bill for a reason. Do you recall that one that was?
I don't know what it was.
I don't know. I thought Vinnie said there was
That
one
might have been a
that he
different one.
purposely held because he was waiting, they hadn't finished what they billed for or hadn't sent everything, but I could be wrong, but.
I don't know who makes out the purchase orders or who handles the bills up to the fire department, but you would think they should be coming down here and being reviewed. All the bills should be coming into this building.
They do.
They do come down here.
Well, then why have we got POs being made out 3 months or 2 months after?
Have you
the
asked
fact?
the fire
I
chief?
spoke with the fire chief after our meeting last week, and he said he is going to do the POs from now on.
He was doing a spreadsheet.
He was doing a spreadsheet, and obviously that wasn't working, so he's gonna do the POs, and the POs will
So
come
is
down.
he the only one that's ordering stuff up there, or is there somebody else that does it too?
Everything goes through him.
Okay.
I mean, it certainly, that would be a, you know, when that bill comes down to be paid, and it's showing that the PO was 2.5 months later, it's probably worthy of a phone call, or at least a note from the treasurer's office on it saying this was received. That's when the treasurer should stamp it with her timestamp and say, this is when I got it, right? Like, I can't, if it came in February and she gets it in May, it's nothing she can do about it.
So we need to buy a timestamp, or we'll be talking about it 2 months from
Not a
now.
timestamp, you want a date stamp.
Date stamp.
Time and date, yeah.
Do we have an old time clock kicking around?
They sell them on Amazon for, they should
No,
have
I
one
know
right on
that.
their desk. They have them in a million, I mean, go down the courthouse. It's, everything that comes in, you put it through the window, it goes to the stamp. Go down the registry of deeds, you put it through the window, it goes to the stamp. It's,
I'll order two of them. I can use one. Oh, we have a time off.
I think you should get one for each of your desks.
I need the extra steps.
Okay,
Do you mind if I call down to York County and see what theirs is? And I'll call them tomorrow,
to see what their,
stamp is, and where they got it.
Yeah, I mean-
If that facilitates, then it's got
Uh,
everything we need.
yeah, it just has to have the date and the time. I mean, it's not rocket science, so.
No,
Probably get Staples, I would think.
Yeah, Staples sells them, Amazon has, I mean, there's Walmart, every place has them. I mean, it's the size of your cell phone. It's pretty simple. And then I guess, the person collecting the mail seems to change on a daily, could change on a daily basis.
It's either Judy or Dottie.
And then they
They're
sort
the
it,
only ones that have keys.
and then they sort it.
Yep, they sort it then. It's not a long process, literally. Judy, depending on the look, she might take it to her office and sort it. A lot of times you see her just sorting it as she's walking.
Okay,
Judy or Dee Dee be the one, because they're here from 9 to 5, basically, every day, so.
yep.
I thought that subject was broached a year ago about having them date stamped.
No, that was stuff,
Well, it was stuff coming in, it was correspondence coming in to the appeals board, but they didn't want to date stamp it, so
yeah. Well, I don't think they should be dates, they should,
Yeah, I think
the,
that's the part.
it should be date stamped when it gets opened. So I don't think she should be date stamping it when she brings the mail in. I think when Julie opens a bill, or Alicia, or the fire, if somebody opens a bill, they open it and date stamp it, because that's when they've got it in their hands, so.
Thank you, Carol.
I think we at least start there.
It looks like it was, the bill in question was from Fire Tech and Safety. There was one of them from January and one of them from February.
That's part of his grant, for me to step in, because I just sent, he asked me to send check stuff to him today.
Was this the one you were talking about? It's dated January 29th.
Yeah. That's one, if anything, you get some interest on that one, $2,800.
2,800 interest?
2,800 for the total invoice.
Oh, I think it said
We're
interest.
waiting how many months? We get some interest coming on
Well, I
that
think
one?
before we jump to conclusions, we should ask the department head if there is a reason. I don't think that's just me.
he might have had more than just that meter on that grant coming in. He might have been waiting for it to come in. He still may be waiting for stuff to come in.
Or the whole order might not have been delivered. So what do we'll order the date and timestamp and go see how that works from there. I think that's a good starting point. Right.
So if you get a bill here for the fire department, what do you do with it?
95% of the bills that they go to the fire department.
They go to the fire department,
Yes, sir.
okay?
And then like when Vinny gets them coded with the purchase order, then they come, they're trying to get them either Thursday or Friday night, because both of Jared and he are gonna be doing them. I was told that today. He and I had quite a discussion. We were gonna go over the, expense distribution and find out why those accounts are being charged for the wrong thing also, but, it didn't come to be as of today.
So they should have a date stamp too. When they come in, when the fire department hits it, they date it. When you get it, you stamp it, you get it. That way we can track it and see where the disconnect's coming.
You mean stamp it when she gets it to her office?
Yeah.
Like from Vinny?
Yeah. That way it'll be known. If they're holding them for 3 months, then we'll know it.
Shouldn't the bills be addressed to here, even though delivery's made up to School Street? So they all come to this building? Because those aren't. I don't see anything wrong with having them all come in here and Vinnie come down and look at if he wants to take a copy of them back, fine. But they all should be coming in here, so we don't have, everybody's got different addresses here.
I'm not necessarily opposed to that. Most of these bills, you got 30 days to turn them around. We should be able to get them up the street and back and paid in 30 days.
They really should all come here. I agree with Howard on that. They ought to come here.
Yeah.
They get sorted out. Each department then has a box or folder in there. They put it in. They come down once a week
That's
and
what
look
it
at the
used to be.
bills.
I don't know when it got changed, but
Yeah, I have no
it
problem.
used to go right no slots right up there.
That's what I was used to before.
I think that's how it should be anyway.
Thank you for
All the mail used to go right up in those slots right there.
I'd suggest we have a seminar, a training session on the purchase order policy that you folks approved last year and went into on January 1st. That says that the copy that the receiving department has is the receiving ticket. So that should come to the treasurer, who already should have the invoice, and and the original purchase order, and you do a three-way match. That's what that purchase order policy that you put into effect says on January 1st. But it seems like there's some disconnect, so I'm sure the Budget Committee members would be glad to do that little training session, should you want it for everybody. Thank you.
All right, is there any more on this topic? None.
So, well, how are we going to get, if you see a bill that's going to the fire station, most of those bills probably have a spot where you can cross out and
That or I can call
Change
right
it.
to the- I call right to the vendor.
get a change of address.
Why don't you let the department head call to the vendor, then there won't be any confusion with that. He should be able to speak to his vendor and say, from now on,
That's fine.
all the bills are gonna go down to the municipal building.
Whenever I've done it for me, I've dated it that's what I've contacted them. And when I've asked for a W-9 as well, because I can't pay them until we have a W-9.
All companies don't need a W-9, do they?
Yes, you do.
Even if they're a
Even
corporation?
if they're a corporation?
You've got to have a W-9, that's the IRS. If you
Yep.
take them in for an audit, every customer, every vendor that you pay, it's a minimum, it was, and I don't know if it's gone up, $100 fine if you don't have a W-9 for that vendor. And it's been a common practice wherever I've been, that they had to have a W-9 for every vendor they wrote.
Yeah. That's federal.
Is it really? I'll learn something tonight, I guess. I mean, if that's what it takes to straighten things out, if it's gonna be a couple months getting everything straightened out, let's make it work.
Thank you.
All right, I will move on to department reports. We have John Cleveland from Community Dynamics.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the Board of Selectmen. I'm John Cleveland, for those probably primarily at home who may not know me. I've been working with the town of Limerick since the 1990s and helping the community write grants and manage projects in the community. We've done quite a lot with that. The reason I'm here this evening is to bring you and the community good news, and also to give you some background on the project. So the good news is that the project called Deep Vale, which is over where the Emery Corner Road is, as most people probably know, has been approved for a grant, $1 million grant from the Community Development Block Grant Program for water and sewer replacement on that road, as in the Watson Hill Road. I'm going to refer to the $1 million grant because it's a round number. You received a letter from the Office of Community Development telling you that they had awarded it there, and they refer to it as $1 million, but I just want you to know that it's actually $999,900. So it's $100 less than that, and that's what will be on your grant award. And the reason it's $100 less is an administrative function from the state. If it's $1 million, we got a lot more hoops to jump through. So if it's less than $1 million, for the $100, we don't have to do all those other hoops. So that's why we've done that. But for all intents and purposes, $1 million. So I want to give you a little background. As you know, the next important water and sewer project that was identified in the community was on the Emery Corner Road and also on a portion of Central Avenue. So in 2024, we applied for a Community Development Block Grant. We weren't awarded it that year, but we were put on the wait list. That is for 2025. In 2025, they had 4 communities on the wait list, all requesting funds. They only had enough for 3. So I was able to provide additional information to Community Development Block Grant Office, and we became one of 2 that ultimately have been offered an award to do that. Otherwise, they would have had to cut one of us out. So I was pleased that I was able to get Limerick on that list so we could do the project. So that's the good news. We also applied for, as you might remember, the congressional directed spending. You're familiar with that, with the fire station and actually with the Hollandville project. So we were selected to be in the budget and were placed in the budget, in the Senate budget. Of course, what's happened now is that the budget they adopted for FY25, this fiscal year, they stripped out all congressional directed spending for everyone. So that was $1.6 million that we were all queued up for until things changed. And so the whole project included a portion of Central Avenue that needed some upgrades as well. So when we lost that, that's when I went back and worked with the engineer and the Water and Sewer Department representatives here to see what we could do with the $1 million grant and a match from the community. That brought the project to about $1.3 million, maybe $1.4 million. And so with the grant and with what funds are available here, it looks likely that we could do it with that amount of money. But we had to cut back the project. So with discussion, it was agreed that the Emery Corner Road piece was critical because that's the line that connects all water to everything in the town, and it's in really bad shape, or at least a good portion of it is. So now I'm here tonight to bring you up to date on that we have that grant, and to tell you that the next steps is that there's a second phase. They call it phase 2, the development phase. This is the paperwork phase primarily. You have to do the environmental review, and there's administrative things. Those of you who've been around for a while have seen these documents. The town of Limerick has approved them since 1990s, administrative. So I have all of those documents here, and I'm going to leave them here. I've annotated all of them with notes on what needs to be done. Some of them need your signatures on them, for example. Others just need to be filled out by the treasurer or other people. So I provided that information, and also I provided a guidebook to both Alicia and to Gail, and I'm available at any time if there are any questions. So they'll look these over, they'll get them prepared, and present them to you so you can see them and approve them, and the ones that need your signatures, you can sign those to move forward. The environmental review is in progress. That's being done by Dirigo Engineering, and it's being done by them because there was a project on the Watson Hill Road that they were working on with the water department, and so they had to do an environmental review for that little section of the road, and they said, well, it's exactly the same thing, just make our map a little bigger, and we can include the Emery Corner, and we'll just do it with part of what we're already doing. So they're working on that, and I'm keeping up with them on how they're doing. As far as I know, I think this is getting paid for through funds that the Water District had available through a small grant that they had. So that portion of it being done. Our goal would be to get all of these forms completed, get the environmental review completed. Hopefully within the next month or 2, get all of that completed. That will put you in the position where once the environmental review is done, you're eligible when the grant is available to use the grant towards things like engineering work for the project to go forward. Now, you have been given the award, and it's in your letter. However, it's subject to, this won't surprise you, being approved by the federal government. So generally, it's pretty routine thing. The Maine Department of Community Development has already been listed on the current budget they're working on right now, the FY25. The funds for the community development program for all the states, including Maine, is in that approved budget. But what needs to be done is they're waiting at the state office for written confirmation that, yes, they'll be sending that money to their office, which includes the money for this project. They're very confident they're going to get that approval, but they haven't gotten it yet. So we're getting this paperwork stuff out of the way now so that when that comes in, they will send you an agreement to sign, like they always do, in regards to the $1 million grant that you would get. So we hope that will just go perfunctory going forward, but I'll keep you updated on that. Just in a general sense, of course, you would need to design the project by Dirigo Engineering. We would hope and expect that once we have cash to work with, not going to obligate anything till we have known money, that that could get done this fall. We would then look to have the engineers go out to bid, ideally in December, January. That's a good time for bid contracts, as we've done. You get your best bids, get our bids in, hope we get a good bid within our budget, and then enter into a contract with a contractor to start the project in the spring, as soon as the weather allows. And I'm very confident it'll be, they'll be able to complete that quite easily during the summer months on this project. So that's sort of the lineup to get this a very important project done, and to have money available once again from a federal state source to help you pay for it. So with that, why don't I just take some questions, if you have any.
One question. On the Emery Corner Road, are you replacing the piping all the way down to the pump house?
No, we're not.
That was done quite a few years ago. I was wondering if that was
No,
problem.
that's an excellent question, and let me make it clear, because I probably didn't make it very clear. It's just up to the Watson Hill Road, because the pipes from the pumps go up to the Watson Hill Road. So we're going to connect onto those new pipes at the Watson Hill Road, or, as I understand, right about in that area. So we're not going to replace any of those pipes that were replaced previously, just the 100-year-old ones.
Okay, so the previous project they had, when they put in the well, and when those, that probably is a force main going right up to the pumping, to the holding facility? Am I right?
Are you talking about water or sewer?
Water. No, I don't talk about sewer.
I don't know that, I'm not sure if I know there's a force main, but,
They had to put, they had to put the pipe
right.
from that pump house up to feed this holding area down below here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not part, we're not dealing with that at all.
No. That's all relatively new, replaced piping. The sewer line's about 400 feet from about the Emery Corner Road area, going back about 400 feet. It's in very poor condition as well. And I think that the water main's about 1,200 feet on the Emery Corner Road, and a few hundred feet on the Watson Hill Road.
And you're not adding any new pipe, you're, like, I know Watson Hill, it goes up to a certain point, then stops, you're not adding any further, correct? That's not in the plans.
Well, as I understand it, it is actually not a water line on the Emery Corner Road itself. There is a pipe, a small pipe, galvanized, as I understand it, which is not good for water, that runs across a private easement in the back of the cottages.
Okay.
That will be discontinued, and they'll use an upgraded new line on the Watson Hill Road.
Perfect.
This will also include connections from the pipe to the property line of all of the people on the road. And generally what they also do is if there's vacant lots, they'll run a service line to the property and cap it off, so you don't have to dig up the road again to put in a service line.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other board members have any questions?
They're going to add a hydrant on Watson Hill Road?
There are hydrants included, yes. I can't remember off the top of my head. I did leave a map in this, though, and I think it may indicate where the hydrants are. But yes, and I think there might be a hydrant on Watson Hill Road, and new hydrants, I think, on the Emery Corner Road. So that will be helpful for fire protection. So with that, you will have, over the years here, new water line that will go from the water source, from your wells, all the way down Emery Corner Road, little piece down Watson Hill, all the way up Washington Street, up to the village. You might remember we just recently did in about 2019, the Upper Village area, all new piping there. We also did around the Hollandville area, replaced all of those areas, including Prospect Street. So those are all new. And back in the 1990s, we replaced all of the Washington Street ones. So there'll be a little section on Central Avenue that at some future point would be worth replacing when there's money available, and maybe a few others. But the majority of the system will be all nice brand new facility. And of course, as you also know, they put in a filter system for iron and manganese, so that helps the coloration as well. So the system is much more improved than it was a few years ago.
Now, you talk about doing all this, John. Is there any cost? Have we got to come up with any money on it?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for asking that. Yes, I alluded to it by saying that you had money set aside. So you do have a reserve account. I think it's called a Deep Vale account. That money has been previously appropriated to that. There is a 25% match to the $1 million, so that you need at least $250,000. My understanding is that, once the audit's completed and everything's cleared, that very high probability or near certainty that you have that amount of money available. And part of that was from some federal money you got, the ARPA money, was you allocated $125,000 towards that as well. So that's a good use of that money. We're also, and John, I know you're mindful of this, that ARPA money is, I think we have beyond the end of this year to do it long as dedicated to a project, which it is, but we want to make sure probably near the front end of this, we get that spent so that there's no question we met the deadlines.
Gail may know better, but, I know we haven't, Gail may know better, but other than the 125, we had transferred, once Hollandville is completely expended, we will transfer some, but it's not going to be anywhere near 125.
There's 171 in the Deep Vale account now.
Oh, there is, okay.
In a capital project.
So the 125 plus,
After the expenses are.
okay. All right, thank you. So we're close.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Somebody's going to come looking for 80 grand at some point.
Yep. Okay. So I think this is an exciting project for the community, a great improvement. You're a wonderful little town, and I'm glad to be part of it.
Thank you.
As much as I love to be at meetings, my wife likes to see me, so I think I'm going to leave shortly after.
I don't blame you. All right, next on the agenda, I have Joanne Andrews from the transfer station.
Just to get you up to date, through the 15th, Our income so far this year is $20,253.77. And so far, we're over what we need. I think 65,000 is what you required for.
Sorry, I was going to try and get my pen, but I'll donate it.
Where was it?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, supposed to have 65,000 in revenue, so we'll more than, if we keep this up, we'll more than cover that. I just want to, I've given you a copy of the changes, the 2025 changes that I will talk about.
Joanne, can you back up? What did you say you were after donation for fees so far?
$20,253.77. That includes the bottle money, John. $19,565.27.
Yep.
And $688 for bottle money. 2 loads of bottles. And I reconcile the revenues through the 15th. I just want to talk about one of the corrections, and it's the one that John brought up last week. The budget that I had for recycling. That is recycling for MRRA and I got too many papers. Recycling, MRRA and North Coast Electronics. Only one of those bills should have come out of that account. The other 5 have got to be transferred to 2001-3511. And that's an EcoMain account. That's for bulky waste and recycling. EcoMain. The rest of them, I won't talk about individually tonight, but I wanted to clarify. So the balance on that line should be instead of minus $1,132.44. I think I put it on your paper. It's the balance now is $1,452.70 after we move those 5 figures.
Excuse me, Joanne, Julie, if we know these changes need to be now, why aren't we making them?
I haven't been given those changes. I'm looking at a report that I just run,
Okay,
and it's still the same. I will do them as soon as I got.
as soon as you get them, okay.
Yeah.
So they're not building up?
No, I didn't give them to Julie. I
Okay,
mentioned it to her, and she said that they were still dealing with 2024. But I want to get 2025 straight before we continue and it gets worse.
yeah, the 2025 is they come in with changes,
That's what I'm working with the departments on.
okay.
Now talk about purchase orders. When I order something or I buy something, I make out the purchase order. I attach the receipt. I attach, I believe it's the yellow copy, and I think I retain the pink copy. I think that's what I've been doing, but I have not been doing it on our contracted bills that come in. EcoMain and Triano, which was Herrick, they send the bills via email. They send them to Julie, and they send them to me. I print them off, I code them, and I take them down and give them to Julie. That's the way we've been handling it. We have a 10-year contract with EcoMain. That's for household waste, bulky waste, single sort. All our municipal waste has to go to EcoMain per the contract. That contract will be up March 31st, 2028. It was written as a 10-year contract.
Now, is there an escalation clause is there an escalation
Yeah,
clause on that?
it's tied into the, like, when they figure the COLA, the cost of living, it's tied into that. And it changes July 1st every year. So when I do my budget in the fall, I have to figure 6 months at one figure and 6 months at another figure. The other contract that we have is an agreement with Triano. They took over from Herrick. They didn't change anything. They still bill us what Herrick was billing us. And the other contract that we have is for all of our recycling, which has to go to EcoMaine. That is a 5-year contract, and that's up in January of 2026. So I'll be looking at this fall. I have to notify them by November if we want to continue. And by doing that recycling contract, we just got a check recently for $3,200 because we're in that, and if the market's good, they give us back some money, which they just did last month. I think that's it, unless you got any more questions. Okay?
Thank you, Joanne.
You're welcome.
And next for department reports, I have Julie Giles, our treasurer.
Good evening, Chair, Mr. Chairman, and all members, and the public that is here. The selectmen, you have your reports that were created. You have a hard copy as well as I emailed them all to you. I have also given a full copy to Vinnie, and we're supposed to have worked on them today, but he had other things that had come up on that issue. As we discussed on the bank's issue, they are still working on it. I got a call from Mr. Wood this afternoon, and they already know they're going to give us one back. And as I stated, that was during the one in question that there's three occurred 3 charges during 1 month. And that month I was not in the office at all. As I stated, I broke my back, and I was supposed to be out for 3 months. I was out exactly 29 days to get back here to do my job for the town because I felt that it was needed. So we're trying to do that, and also, as I stated, the money, the December and back then, Bill also told me that there was due to the fact of the lump payment, that threw us off too. Cameron and he are both working on it, and they promised me they would be in touch with me no later than Wednesday. He was on the road today, and he called me from his car about 4:45 this afternoon. I made it back to me that you're in the idea that Trio is supposed to be getting in touch with us due to a phone call. I personally spoke to Alice Marshall today, and there are no open tickets for Trio to the town of Limerick as of this day. She says whatever we need, they will be here. She is hoping to be in the state of Maine in June for 2 meetings, and if you need her, she would be here. Otherwise, I've been instructed to call one of 3 other members to solve any of these issues. They would come down from Bangor when available. She wants me to make sure I get back to her tomorrow, whatever your wishes are, and so that's why I'm bringing it up here tonight, because I promised her that I would give her a call. She and I have known each other for years, and that's why I called her directly, because she is the head of the marketing. And so we go from there. Just for FYI, anybody that needs it, because I know there's a time frame, if anybody hasn't taken their Freedom of Access course, June 24th, there is a webinar by MMA from 2 to 4. Would make the suggestion that whoever needs to review theirs, do it, because that's the quickest way to get things accomplished and make sure that we are in the guidelines. As I stated, going to be working with Vinny. He's got his reports. As I brought it to John's attention, there is one bill that one person submitted it, and we paid by the proposal, and the other one submitted it when we got an invoice. Both got paid, and there was no way that those would have been cross-caught by Trio, because Trio goes by their invoices to tell you if it's been double paid. And we didn't have a purchase order, invoice on the proposal, and we did on the other one. And I've already reached out to the vendor, and Vinny's going to also reach out to the vendor. We've started the payment request to get our money back. We are at the third level at that time, and as I told Vinny, they told us it would be from 3 to 6 months to get in the refund, and I told the party that I spoke to that was not, with our understanding, was not proper for our business effect. And they said they were busy, and I said, so aren't we. This is taxpayers' money, and it's not fair that you're using their money. Let's see. I'm not finding fault, but I would really appreciate, because I went back and I read the descriptions. I know every department is supposed to have a liaison. It'd be nice if I could get a chance once in a while to speak to mine. It would be really nice. And I'm not complaining, but it would be nice. Because I've heard outside stuff that people are complaining. There was complaints made at the fire even that made it back to me in regards to what, John, you mentioned about the penalties. That was discussed at the fire on Saturday. And it made it back to me, and that's fine. But I don't think at a fire, when you're having a training course, it's a place to be discussed. But whatever, I had the answers for you folks, but I couldn't give it there because I didn't know anything going on. If you speak to my liaison and he reaches out to me, or you give me the courtesy of giving me a phone call, I would do my best to answer you. Several members have called me at night asking me a question, and I'll get the answer from them. I have no problem with that. If you can't get me, at least you can leave a message on my cell phone, and I will get back to you just as quick as I can. I do try to do that for you folks. I also gave you what's in each individual account. There's interest that needs to be posted on your CDs. Those are behind, but less than $6 on each. And your rescue, I've got to see how the two of them are added up in your revenues. I tried to do it this morning, and at the quickness that I did it, I couldn't get it matched. But your APRA funds are right on, that's what, and I've been instructed not to move that till we have the bills. So that's staying there till we have the bills on them. And my plan is to give you the set of those 3 reports every week. And if anybody in the public wishes them, I have them in an email, and I can forward them to whoever wishes if they have questions. Because this is so that people can see and know everything, if they have any questions, what the town is spending. As I promised when I got elected, that I work for the public, and I'm doing my best to keep everything up in front. And that's all I have for tonight. Any questions?
It looked like, I know you just touched on the rescue account. It looks like from the revenue report we got
800 and something out there.
And revenue from billing, like this month, 71,000.
Oh, okay, yes. I have not moved that.
That is not transferred yet?
No, it will be at the end of the month. That way, if I do it once a month, then I know
Do they send every month or every quarter?
It depends on the volume. Sometimes Wyndham sends it twice to us, depending on what they have for volume. And it sends certified, and the same day it comes in, I post it, and it goes to the bank at that night. You briefly spoke on the interest that we had to pay for partners. I'm going to try my best to set it up so it's taken directly out of our account, but for this week's payment, that is due on the 28th. It will be going in Thursday's night's deposit. I've already let Bill know that it will be in their night drop box. We still have to the 28th. That way we're not counting on the mail getting it because it goes to the home office, not to Limerick. So, any of your other wishes, but we'll take care of the clock, and I have no problems with date stamping the clock and doing that, because we used to do, I've always done that wherever I've done.
Do we know what the balance is on the remainder on the firehouse construction project?
What is owed?
No, the balance of money that hasn't been used.
No, I do not, because I haven't got the post from the auditor. I hope to hear from them by the end of the week. But that's what, they have everything that we had to post them. And another bill just came in, and I'll print that out and see what it's for from the auditor, because Chris sent it. It's on my email.
Another bill from the auditor?
Yes, sir. I'll let you know in the morning what it is, if that's all right. If you want it tonight, I'll go get it. It's your call. Yes, Brady.
Last year, when we voted on, I noticed on here that charity organizations, only one of them that we voted on to donate money to at the annual election that we voted on has been paid out. Do they normally have to request that money?
It's been my practice that they request
Okay.
it. But I have seen, and I've got to find out to whom to speak to. It doesn't look like the church was paid last year,
Okay.
but I
Yeah,
believe
'cause
everybody else was.
it looks like the only one that we've paid out as of this year was American Red Cross.
Right. But in the past practices, they've asked for it.
Okay.
When they're ready to do it for their books or their expenditures. Whichever your wishes are, I can follow.
I was just wondering what the procedure was.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to change something and make a policy, tell me what you want, that's no problem.
If they want their money, they can ask for it.
Okay.
Howard,
Yes, Don.
the report we got tonight says there's $225,562 left in that. I think you'll find probably when that gets audited out, it's $100,000 left.
Okay? Anything from the public? Thank you very much.
All right, next John, do you think we'll have enough time to talk about the ordinance?
Want to do it now?
Yeah, so we're just going to move the agenda around real quick. We're going to jump to new business to discuss ordinance for televised meetings, and I will hand the floor to John to discuss that.
So in 2013, we voted to film all the meetings. It's been discussed for 10, 12 years, whether that still sticks or doesn't stick. The lawyer has said, I think time and time again, that it sunsets if it's in a vote in the town warrant, unless you vote for it every year, it goes away. We made a couple changes to it along the way to take out the library. Then we made another change that if it was a male function, we could record it and still going on. I think it's time we actually put it into an ordinance. So I think we ought to put together an ordinance for November that is clear and concise to what is filmed, whether it's live streamed, whether it's over the SRC TV, whether it's recorded and put out. Because right now, any filming we do, and I think we should continue to do it, is basically done, I don't want to say as a courtesy, but we're not obligated to film anything based on the votes sunsetting. So we need to get together a vote for November, I would think, where we can actually put it into an ordinance so it stays and it's solid. You know, there's thought process. Look, we don't deny it, we had to meet an engineer up at the fire station this week. There was some concern, does it have to be filmed? Well, we can't do town business with a mobile film crew. Doesn't work. Doesn't happen. Sure.
From my understanding with in the time I've been involved with this, you can all get together and go to any meeting and ask questions of whomever you're talking to. You can't make a decision while
No
you're
voting.
there.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
And-
That's
and
what you can't do.
That's what we can't, and I think everybody, well, I shouldn't say that. Most people know that, but there are some people that are saying, 3 of you are together, you need to have a camera behind you. So,
No.
and they're wrong. We know we're wrong, but let's
But
let's
the
put
minute
it in
you
an
start
ordinance.
discussing it amongst yourselves, then you've crossed that line.
Well, we can, as we had to do at the fire station, we met up there when it came to plowing, and we discussed where the snow was gonna go. And we didn't vote on anything. We got a consensus amongst us, and then we came back and voted on it here on TV in front of everybody for everybody to see. We're dealing with a drainage issue up there. We've met an engineer, we met the property owner. We think we've come to a solution. Once we have the solution, we'll discuss it in the open meeting, and we'll vote on it, and we'll move forward. But we just need to get it in an ordinance and get it so people know what to expect. Meetings of whatever boards where there's going to be a vote should be televised, should be recorded, should be live streamed. And that's where it needs to end. I don't think we're not reinventing the wheel here. We can take the vote that we did in 2013, amend it a little bit, and make it into an ordinance.
Sure.
That's all well and good about not filming it. I mean, it's very inconvenient. But nowadays with cell phones and recorders and stuff, I think any meeting like that should be recorded. And then Alicia can go through the notes, put it in a, abbreviated style. So at least it's in the minutes of whatever meeting we're coming up to or have been or whatever, and it's a record. And then that way, if somebody wants to find out, just like I complained about the snowplow contract, everybody meeting up there. The decisions had been made before, you guys got back here and just voted on it. Things like that should be published for the people to know because it's their money that you guys are spending. And like I say, a cell phone, turn it on, have a recorder, turn the conversation of what's going on so the people know what's going on, these secret meetings. It's just suspense that people wonder, and it just, maybe they're not, I'm not saying they're secret meetings.
Well,
I'm just saying,
these secret meetings.
I was hypothetically, John. You
Okay.
got a guilty conscience?
Not at all.
All right, let me finish. People, gossip goes, and they'll say, oh, these guys had meetings up here. Just publish it, have Alicia do just a shortcut to have people, we met up here, this is what we decided, we're going to talk about it more at the meeting. It just keeps everything out into the open.
Good.
Ricky Richardson, I believe I asked the board to meet me and Charles at the new fire station so we could discuss where the snow could go without encroaching on the abutting neighbor's property. I just wanted everybody on the same page, that's all, so everybody was aware of what we were facing. There was no decisions made that night. We just had a conversation, and I wanted you included.
Yeah, and then we came back here and voted on it. And we added it to the contract and voted on it. And that's, if we have to go, look at trees or look at potholes or look at places that aren't plowed well or drainage issues, we got to be able to do it. And whoever can show up, there was a meeting out here with the engineer. I think Howard, you were there, right? And Bernie was there. I drove by. Nothing I'm going to add to it, so I kept going. No need for me to be there. But if I wanted to pull in, I should be able to stop and pull in. If Wade wants to pull in, it's not a meeting where decisions are being made, but it's town business on a daily basis that's going on. If we're lucky enough that 3 of us can break away from our daily lives and go do it, all the better. If it's 1 or 2, then they come back and report here, and then we vote on it. But I think if we just put the filming issue in an ordinance, it just puts it to bed permanently, and there'll be no question as to what we have to film, when we have to film, how we have to film it. So,
Steve?
Like on the appeals board, when we go do our site walks and stuff, we've never ever recorded that. That's just a site walk. When we come back here, so the terminology or whatever you're gonna write in when you're actually at a meeting making decisions or something, maybe a couple of other department heads can just weigh in on, you know, some of that. When the planning board goes out and does a site walk, okay, they usually take some minutes so they know what they were discussing, but that's not filmed. It's impossible. So, you know, we're over the board saying we got to have some hat cameras or something like that.
yeah, it's
Just tweak the word a couple of times. And
that's all it is. We just got to get it and put it into an ordinance for people to vote on so we can do town business and not have people saying, oh boy, that was it. With that, I apologize. I have to, pre-planned, I had to leave.
We gotta go. Thank you. All right, we will divert back to old business. First thing on old business is review of legal accounts. I did not see a legal bill in the bill pack this week. I will just touch base on the retainer issue, and was there any update on the bill on the sale of the Moore building that we got last week?
I was gonna say, did I not forward it? So that is coming off, all 4.5 hours, yes, that is.
And then I am still trying to figure out the amount of the retainer. Did we figure that out too? I know I emailed somebody.
No.
She said, I don't know. I didn't think you had a retainer. And I said, well, the bill says this less retainer, so there's a retainer somewhere. So I'll follow up again on that. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. Nope. Cemetery mowing, veterans and cemetery committee. Joe is going to purchase the items at Ace Hardware. Do you have any update as you attended the meeting?
We met the other night. There was myself and 3 others there, and I think he went over everything that all the cemeteries that he's doing, the ones that he's still trying to find and everything. And I think he's got the purchase order, part of it all fixed, all set. And he mentioned the only thing that he probably would have would be, he'd probably use 5-10 gallons of gas. And I said if he needed it, yeah. I said if you need it, just give me a call and I'll make sure that he gets it. So.
Perfect, thank you. Lights for the municipal building, Alicia, do you have the new quote on that?
It will be 1 more week.
Okay.
My guy that I'm waiting for had almost completed. His son was getting married last weekend, and he was gonna stay home one night from their dinner to finish it, and I refused that and told him absolutely not, that 1 more week would be fine.
Alicia?
It's on. Okay, thank you.
Next, we'll go over the review of policies. We have the administrative fee policy that we changed the wording on last week. So it reads, at the time of sale of any town-owned property, the buyer will pay a one-time minimum administrative fee of $200 plus all incurred fees. The purpose of this fee is to cover the administrative costs the town of Limerick incurs in completing the sale. So I would look for a motion to approve the ordinance or the policy as written.
Second.
All right, motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right. So we'll sign that after the meeting. The next one I have is background check policy. We're going to skip that one until Alicia gets back. Review of the personnel policy. Cindy, do you have something on this?
So,
page 4, the full-time employee is considered someone who works 30 hours or more a week. And right underneath that is the permanent part-time. An employee in this classification works more than 12 and less than 36. So full-time is 30 or more, and permanent part-time is up to 36. So
Yeah.
I would suggest maybe it would be up to 29.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I wonder if it is I can't imagine that, but there's been crazier things that I've thought and was wrong. I wonder if it's a state, like, wording
There is a state law on it.
on permanent part-time.
Well, up until last December, your policy stated permanent part-time was somebody that worked 20 hours or more.
Okay.
So it's changed to 12 hours as a minimum and 36, you know.
On permanent
But
part-time.
I also, at the library, and I've talked about this for quite a few years, trying to get somebody to fix that. The 20 hours, I have 3 employees that don't work 20. And at this point, now you've made it 12. You didn't tell me. But that makes them eligible for vacation time and holiday pay, which we can work out with our budget this year. Transfer station as well is what Joanna's saying for the people at home. And actually I now have 2 people that fall into that category for the 12 hours. But I have a third person that is close to 12, but not quite 12, maybe. Right now, she's at 14 hours a week. But this averages out over a 52 weeks. So last year, it was about 10 hours. And so she would be, I don't know how many people you have in town that work less than 12. She would be the only person that doesn't get vacation pay or holiday. And I would like to see that if she only works 10 hours a week's vacation for 10 hours is not that much money.
Not much.
She's worked in this position for 2 years. And the other person that works a 12-hour week, she has worked here 3 years. So I'm just,
I know there's a state law on it, but I can't remember what the
I
hell
don't know
it
what
is.
you can do about that.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely look into that. I'm just trying to see. Nope, never mind. I didn't know if they would fall under the per diem tab, but.
They don't get any, because I asked Vinny about that.
Oh, I know. I know.
You
I know.
But I did ask.
Okay.
When Cindy asked me, so I thought.
Yeah, I don't know what. I would definitely have to review this more. So you said you have one employee that works 14 hours a week, and then one that works 10, or they average?
One works 12, and one so far, because I have 2 people. One is scheduled to work 12, one is 3, but she also works covering vacations or sick time when people are out. So at this point, she's been working 14 hours a week, January through May. But that will probably change. She'll kind of, some of her hours will drop back down and probably below the 12 hours. So I don't know what the average for the year will be. The average for last year was 10 hours a week.
We gotta talk to the Department of Labor.
All right, yeah. Definitely think we need to investigate this a little bit more.
And so at this point, when it says on the full-time, a full-time employee works 30 hours or more per week on a continuing 52-week basis, I work 34. Been here 30 years. If you change it to be, well, it doesn't matter, I guess. Part-time. You could call me part-time, you could call me full-time. I don't want to lose my benefits. Oh, I know what it was. The full-time, there is a benefit that I get that I would not get if I were permanent part-time.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely do have to review this. I recall changing it last year.
And I don't know what the criteria was for you
Yeah.
to change that. I
I'll
don't
have to
know
look
why you
back
did
on that, on why it was changed. Do you remember? Wow.
Okay.
In my benefit, I didn't sign it, but.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I will definitely look back into this.
The only thing that we changed in December was from continuous part-time, it was the wording, to permanent part-time. And then there were per diem, we added per diems to holidays that they're working at the fire department. So they were paid if they were working on a holiday that day. But that's in a different section. Those were the adjustments.
Right. Yeah, so we'll have to review this, and I want to follow up with just the wording of and the definitions of those positions. Because permanent part-time, that's a pretty large range of hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how that works with.
Department of Labor can tell you.
All right.
When I'd also-
Do you consider full-time, Cindy?
Yes.
I have
Okay.
been, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, anything over 30 hours.
30 hours.
I
and
think
that
we ought to
was-
adjust that, but it's not a big deal if somebody's going to get 7 hours pay, if that's what they average. I don't,
Yeah,
they're going to get 7 hours holiday pay. I don't think it's a big deal. It's not like they're making.
Right. You know, and they would only get the holiday pay if they work, they're scheduled to work that day, and
Yes.
then it becomes, it's a holiday. If, you know,
If they're not-
Thanksgiving is a Thursday, the library's closed on Thursday. Nobody gets paid for the Thanksgiving holiday.
Same thing for Christmas and New Year's, or?
Well, it depends on the day.
Okay.
You know, we're closed Thursday and Sunday.
Okay.
So, and on Monday, we only work 4 hours. So if Christmas comes on a Monday, we get paid 4 hours. That's all. That's how it works. Okay? So you're going to look at that?
Yeah, I need to look into it a little bit more,
All
for
right.
sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alicia, do you have any updates on the background check policy?
Oh, yep. So you'd asked me to reach out to the York County Sheriff's Office, and so I talked directly to Sheriff King, who said, frankly, I do not want to commit to conducting background checks for every person who applies in this position, in a position within the town. Normally, this is not a service that we offer. Furthermore, unless it is a criminal matter, we cannot be routinely conducted to do background checks. So I'd say we would stay with the state of Maine that we have now.
Yep.
So that was one thing you'd wanted. I don't know if there's any other changes from last week that you want to see on the background check policy.
I
think there's a lot of things that we do.
There's a lot of things that we do, I think, a little bit different
extra
now.
things here that.
So I think we can, submit name and date of birth person to the constable's office, because that's where it goes now, correct? That's who handles submitting the name and date of birth of persons to the constable's office.
Well, it's all a part of the form. So,
I
you
don't
can
think-
you can receive the authorization, like from the candidate, like the form
Yeah.
from them.
I don't think we need to
I don't know
get board
why it's
approval.
backwards to getting the date of birth, like after. Like I've already got the signed form.
And I don't think board approval is, if there's a position open, then we're running a
There
background
is board
check.
approval already, I feel like, because you've either appointed, you're hiring.
Correct.
Or you know of the position that we're going to be doing the background check on.
Because technically, if board approval is needed for background checks within the town, wouldn't that mean technically, like, the town clerk is hiring a position, or I don't know if they've hired a position yet or not, but would they have to get approval from the board to run the background check? I just feel like that's a little redundant.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I think there's a lot of redundancy here. I mean, if they're, like I said, if they're becoming a hired or an appointed position, this is the policy that we have in place to happen.
Correct. I don't recall seeing in my last couple, this could have happened, but I don't remember seeing the previous chair or me as chair have signed the board to send a letter to the constable signed by the chair. I don't think that has happened.
What about volunteers? Do you do background checks on volunteers for the rec department?
Alicia, do you know if we do?
We definitely have in the past.
We have.
We have,
Yeah.
yeah. We have done some.
Brady, I'd like to ask, who does Benny use for you folks? Because at Waterboro, the fire department did all of our background checks instead of MMA to save money.
I think we get them for free,
Yeah,
right?
they're free now.
They're free
through the
now.
state police.
Through the state police. But I'm not sure. It's been a while since I don't know. I can definitely, someone can follow up with Vinny
The
and
fire
see.
department conducted the background check themselves?
No, the fire department filled out the forms and they sent them in to their party that did it. If I did it in the main office, mine had to go through MMA, and we paid $25 or $30, but they did the really deep with the license and drugs and the whole 10 yards.
Yeah, I know the state police one is free for the towns. That is what gets used now. So, yeah, I'm sure we can. I would assume, but I don't like assuming. I would assume that Chief Pelletier gets the form filled out and then sent up here to send from the person up here to send it out. But I could be wrong, so I can definitely follow up with him on that.
I'll check with him.
Okie dokie.
I'll check with him.
Okay.
I'm his liaison. I mean, you've got to determine how deep you want to go on a background check, because it makes a difference on how extensive the people are doing it are, so.
But like when you're talking the rec, you got to go a little bit deeper because of kids.
Yep.
Put that down.
All the background checks should be the same.
Yes, sir.
They should all be the same. We just have to determine how deep we want to go. Maybe we ought to check with the state police and see how deep they go and get a recommendation from them. Then you can put that in the policy.
That wouldn't hurt.
Huh?
I agree.
We can, you know, I'll follow up on that, Brady.
Do we want to come up with a list of which, I mean, any and all? Do we want any and all positions within the town, volunteers included, to be background checked? I would assume so.
You have to.
So I think we should put that
Just
in.
see how deep they go and what it covers, and then.
And I mean, I know there's a state of Maine sex offender check too that is free of charge, so it can be the same. I used to run that during people applying for housing, so I would recommend we run that too. So I think we can come up with, I can come up with wording and present it to the board for next week.
Let me save you some time. Let me get with the state police and see what they do, see how deep it is.
Okay.
And see if it's gonna meet what we need, and go from there. How's that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Now, when work goes out to bid, you know, do some background checks.
You mean for the contractors? No, not that I know of. No. All right, so we will figure that out and come back next week. Next on the agenda is the Moore Building sale.
Did you decide on the admin fee policy one? Sorry, I think I was changing my battery.
You were out. We're going to sign it. Yep.
Thank you.
Moore Building sale, we have mailed the deed to JB, Jensen Baird.
Yep, they'd have the original one that you signed.
All right. Oh, yeah, it's just,
They got it, and she got it. She did confirm.
here it is. They need the original.
Okay.
It was worded weird. It was
She
lined
said
weird.
they would be submitting it to be recorded. It would likely not go on record until today, and then she will forward me a copy of it.
Perfect. Is there any update on the municipal building parking lot?
We just did a walkthrough with the one engineering firm that has responded so far, and
Have we
Gave them
got
a
any
basic-
others?
not yet. So we gave them a basic thing, and they're gonna come up with something, and when we get ready, we'll,
Those were all sent out to all those people?
yes.
I'm surprised we didn't get,
Oh, they're busy too.
I know they're busy, but
Well, let's see what happens.
business is business.
Business is business.
They said they wanted to start out with a survey.
If they get selected, they'll have to start out with a survey. They all,
They can discuss anything they want to go on a survey.
what they'll do is they'll come in with a basic proposal that says what they have to do.
They don't need a survey for that.
No, they don't. They're gonna come in with their basic proposal, and included in that basic proposal is gonna be the survey and everything else. We sit down with each company that submits an executive session, so they're not tipping each other off. I mean, I think we sent out 14 RFPs for the fire station. We got 3, and 1 withdrew.
But you did say you had to have a survey before they draw something up.
No, we were talking to them about surveys, because we're not, even though we got a good idea where the pins are, I don't think this property's ever been surveyed. And if you're gonna do it, we don't wanna make sure that we're not encroaching on the neighbors. Especially if we're putting in drainage or whatever.
They have to survey to get it,
Most,
know where the
most
boundaries are. That's
engineering
gonna be
companies,
part
they
of
will
the,
not
that's
touch
gonna
this
be
unless
part of
they
it.
survey it.
That's gonna be part of it, so let's see how many we get. If we get 2, we get 2. If we get a dozen or half a dozen that we put out, that's what we get.
Was there a date that they needed to be in by?
The 20, either the 13th or the 23rd of June. I forget what it was.
All right. The next thing I have on here is the flags on Main and Washington Street. We do have an email from Flag Waivers. So this is sets with flag. Each set includes a silver stainless steel bracket, stainless steel mounting straps, aluminum pole, and a silver plastic acorn, and a flag. Does it say flag? Yes. So for 40 of them, it's $123 a piece, totaling $4,920 for 40 of them. And according to our purchase policy, it falls in between the $2,500 to $14,999. Written quotes shall be solicited from a minimum of 3 qualified bidders or companies. The bids or estimates are to be attached to the purchase order request and approved by the select board. So, I don't think we expected it to cost as much, so we probably haven't reached out to 3 companies or gotten bids, or I'm sure.
Flag waivers in Gorham.
What was it?
Flag waivers in Gorham.
That's the one that says from Flag Waivers?
No.
What's it called?
Gorham Flag Center.
Oh, Gorham.
Gorham Flag Center, sorry. Gorham Flag.
There's another company that I bought from for years.
Who is it?
They're a national outfit. Flag company, so it's, and they gotta be cheaper than that one.
So we can reach out to them and give them apples to apples what we're looking for, and see what they get back to us with pricing.
Give Alicia the name, Howard, and let her send out to them and see what it is. Have we got enough flags to put out for Memorial Day? Kind of embarrassing, we waited
No,
till
that's what this is for.
5 days before.
I am unsure.
Steve Fogler had a committee, they bought them through the Legion. They used to get so much a year, and they would buy so many, but it's gotten to the point where they,
I thought that flag at Lowe's when it's made in the USA.
I think the good thing about this is that it came with the kit to mount it to the
I think
telephone
it's,
poles.
the problem is it's everything. You need the,
a lot of poles.
Correct, but some of them don't, some of them do. We
yeah.
don't want to get...
they're broken, need replacing. There's new ones.
So we'll... I mean, it took a while to get these in, so, I mean, we can reach out and hopefully they can get back to us, and if they don't get back to us, then we can decide what we want to do. I don't know how many we have right now that can go up. I don't know if they're in good enough shape to go up.
Where are
It wasn't yet.
We threw all of them out?
The ones that were all in the office and sitting there, everyone said throw them out.
John, do you have anything on the overlook? He's not here. Unlocking a Boy Scout Island. The interview questions were asked of the candidates, and we are waiting for responses from them.
Oh,
It's gonna start next Friday. And do you want to do it for a week?
no, I called Greg, they will be done before the weekend. I mean, I don't think we should be, if we're not gonna open the gate, we shouldn't even have the buoys out.
No.
So once the buoys are out and the gates open, same time.
Do we want to make I mean, do we want to give Alicia the authorization to pick somebody for this position so we don't have to wait until next, I mean, Alicia reached out to all these candidates today, and 2 of them have gotten back. One of the people who have gotten back were the first one to apply, and so obviously she is still interested. So I don't know, I mean, her questions, the answers were, yes, she has a backup plan, yes, she understands the job duties, and yes, she can get there.
Yeah, she can get there. She had a reference.
She had a reference, so I mean,
I feel like there's one more.
do we want to give a deadline? I mean, I think we've given too much time into this, but do we just want to go with
When's it gonna be open by?
It's supposed to be a memorial.
a memorial to Columbus Day?
But I guess you need to decide that if I give you the other 4 emails and all of the answers are all of the same, what is your discretionary measure going to be at that point in picking a candidate?
Go to the first one to apply, put the names in the hat and draw it. I mean.
Yeah.
Have you seen these girls?
What was that?
Have you seen, is it the girls that applied for that? Have you seen these people?
No, I know one of them, or 2 of them, but that's it. I don't know the others,
I think we
no.
ought to at least see them, see what we have.
What would I say if I saw them? What would that make or break?
2 people have gotten back to you?
Yes.
Pick one of these 2. They were the ones that were responsible and got right back to you.
I agree.
I agree with that.
No matter what, Lee, next week, guarantee the people are gonna be swimming down at that beach. And so the buoy should be out so the boats don't go in. It's a town facility, yeah.
Alicia, what was the name of the first woman that I was in the room when she answered?
Brittany Griffith.
I make a motion, we offer the position to Brittany Griffith for the unlocking the Boy Scout Island.
Second motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right.
We're gonna have Greg put the buoys out, Greg?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Greg today, he will have them out. He's gonna do it the next couple of days, he'll be out before.
I'm concerned about the flags. I'm really concerned about the flags for Memorial Day. That's an embarrassment if we don't have flags up. I'm sorry it is.
Do you want to make a motion to, I mean, it's just at the price that we got presented, our purchase policy says we need
Can we
to.
at least get flags out on Main Street where they have the parade?
you check tomorrow, and
How many
Gorham,
brackets
go
is
between Gorham and this guy tomorrow, and get whatever we need, 6, 8, or 10 up on Main Street.
I can't promise that these aren't needing to be ordered either.
Yeah, I'm gonna say,
I'm-
I wouldn't, just because they gave us the
Yeah,
proposal, or the prices, that doesn't mean they even have
I mean,
them.
I don't want to,
Guarantee you can go on, take them off, yeah.
I'm glad we call them, because I know Alicia doesn't work on Tuesday, so I thought I'd call them for you.
Brady, let me see that.
I would also, I mean, if we want to at least get Main Street done, if the board
and we can
wants
just,
to give me authorization,
Get some at
there's
Lowe's.
American-made ones at Ace Hardware with the brackets, and if they keep it under a certain amount, I don't know if the board wants to make I can go up, and if,
You can go to Home Depot, you can go to Tractor Supply, you can...
but I'm willing to do it on my own time one night this week to get it ready for Memorial Day. I'll steal a ladder from the fire department.
well, if they have them, that can be a bid
Borrow.
on it too. I
Sorry,
mean,
sorry, chief, borrow.
I think if we can get them in a couple days, I'm sure they can get them up. I just think it's not right we don't have flags on Main Street at least. I'm sorry.
So I guess,
That's the way I feel.
I mean, I'm happy to check Lowe's or Home Depot.
You don't need...
Count them in the morning.
All the brackets or all the, no, I don't believe all the brackets.
There's a lot of brackets still on the poles up and down the street. Some of the poles they've replaced, and there's...
the issue
need
is
flags
when the
on Main Street.
when the flags are on Main Street, when there's a heavy windstorm or a rainstorm in the summer, they get blown down, and sometimes when they get blown down, I mean, I took them off 2 years ago. You know, yes, there is a bracket there, but it's cracked, and a gust of wind, it cracks, opens, lets the flag pull out, and then shuts again. So there may be a bracket there, but it might not be in the best condition. Wade, if you want to count tomorrow, I mean, if we want to make a motion just to have a plan in place, Alicia does not work tomorrow, so if Julie wants to call to get a price, if we want to get a number tomorrow morning, get that number to Julie, and I mean, if we need to make a motion on,
Was there a number on that? Had to be to get that.
40.
40. Okay, 40.
40 sets at $123 a piece.
But that counts Washington Street too.
Yes.
Correct.
How long the mask are you looking at? Can I have a copy of that, please, to go by?
I'll just take a photo of it.
3 by 5 rate, is that what it is?
3 by 5 nylon
Yeah.
flag.
Whatever my-
Maybe what we ought to do is maybe take them down a week or so after Memorial Day, put them up a little before 4th of July, then take them down, and then put them back up before Veterans Day. Leaving them up all summer doesn't cut it. That's...
During the fall and winter, that doesn't matter.
Certainly doesn't.
Brady will borrow a ladder. Yes.
I need ladder training.
Are they delivering those?
Well, we need to come up with I mean, we can't spend money without a vote, so.
Yeah, one of us can go get them, but that's fine. That's a good offer, thank you. I think we need them. We need them on Main Street anyway. On Main Street anyway.
I'll make this my first priority tomorrow morning.
Yep, I'll come up and see you.
So yeah, we'll get the plan.
Call me.
Wade can get a number
I'll get a number in the morning, and,
of just Main Street for now, and then if we want to make a motion to expend up to a certain amount just to get flags on Main Street, we can.
What's, I don't have the policy in front of me. How much can we spend before we have to go hog wild here?
2,500.
We spend up to 2,500?
1,000 to 2,500. This does not require competitive bidding, but should also be priced so that the town receives good value by receiving multiple quotes. Department.
It's up to 20 flags, roughly.
Yep.
Maybe 20 flags for Main Street, so let's see what we can get.
But you can't tell until you're on the ground, until you're at.
Let's just buy the whole set and then...
Well, no, it's wrong. The brackets that's the other ones, the steel brackets. The other ones,
Are as good brackets on the poles uptown?
Let me see that again.
There's some we could take off the poles along here if we had to for the time being.
Okay, so let's come up with a plan. We're not meeting before Memorial Day again, so do we want, I look for a motion. I look for a motion to spend up to $2,500 if needed on flags for Main Street.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? The discussion I will say is that if the brackets are steel up there, good. We shouldn't buy more flags than are needed. Wade's going to get a count in the morning. I work in Hollis. I can pick them up.
I'll go pick them up.
Okay. I can hang them up. Yeah, we can.
We'll find a way to get them here in a timely fashion so
Yep.
the guys can put them up before the rain hits.
All right. Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right.
You gonna make the purchase order out for that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'd be a heck of a note if I didn't.
Bernie, is the estimate from Clean Harbors. Do you want to go over that real quick?
I can. We called the DEP, got them involved at a little higher level, so we don't have to dispose of the foam as hazardous waste, which was a good thing. So it knocked the estimate down to about half. We went from almost $4,500 down to $2,000 to get rid of that unknown stuff that's in the bottle that has been in the basement of that town hall forever. It's they don't know if it's acid, if it, you know the Cowboys you brew beer in? It's about the size of that, maybe a little bigger, and nobody knows what it is. They don't know if it's for the old car docks, if it was
It's like one of those
battery
Poland spring water dispenser 5-gallon jugs. It's just glass, old, and
It probably holds 12, 15 gallons. They don't know what it is, so they got to treat it as an unknown. So that's where we're at. I don't think so. I don't think so. It goes away. So I think we ought to make it go away before it becomes a real issue. If somebody breaks it and it's an acid and it reacts, or somebody gets hurt, tried to get rid of it 20 years ago, and they wouldn't fund getting rid of it, so here we are. Yep.
All right, so does somebody want to make a motion on this?
I make a motion that we accept Clean Harbor's estimated total fee for $2,005.46 to dispose of the hazardous waste that's in the basement of the town hall, the unknown hazardous waste.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? My discussion is where is the money coming from?
I say, what account is that coming from?
All right. No sub-account? Sounds good to me. We'll take it out of the Brick Town Hall.
We already saved you $500. You approved $500 to get rid of the other waste, and we haven't spent it, so you're only going to have to spend another
Can you
$100.
look, please? I think it's maintenance that,
Bricktown Hall?
Yeah, well, Bricktown Hall has a lot.
Maintenance is 0250.
What's it have for an amount in it? That one, the 15?
That's the one with 10,000.
The 10,000.
And they added 16, so you still got 26.
We added 16?
Yeah, 16,253 is in the budget adjustment.
For the Brick Town Hall?
Yeah,
What are we doing
I
up
don't,
there?
what is that? I don't know what that's from.
that was one of the votes that you had on your second round, there was in the budget adjustment. And I know that balance. I don't know what the warrant article is, I don't have that in front of me.
I guess I need to look at that.
Somebody ripped this green sheet, and I'm going to blame it on somebody else, but it was probably me because it's in front of me.
That's fine. It sounds like there's,
Yeah.
in the
All right,
maintenance,
so it'll come out
that's
of
the one.
the
yeah.
maintenance account. All those in favor? Opposed? All right.
Want me to call and set that up? Or
Yes,
tell them
please.
they-
Let's get it done. And that can stay on until, it'll stay on the agenda until it's removed from there. And if a guy in a pickup truck shows up in like shorts and hey dudes, I'm gonna be mad.
You will.
Is there any updates on the review of the winter maintenance road list? Ricky, did you have a chance to, any recommendations on that yet? Or?
I reached out to Stan, but he's been out of the office for a few days.
Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna do like a site ride and go over everything with him. We haven't done it yet.
Okay. Thank you. Next on the agenda is approve to accept the $2,000 from the Water and Sewer District that they gave us a check last week to pay for their portion of the auditing fees. 30 AMRS Chapter 5652. We just have to make a vote on it to accept cash gifts to the municipality when the money is for a specific appropriation. So I'd look for a motion to accept the $2,000.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor? All right. We already went over the one item on new business, so I open it to hearing of citizens.
I have one question.
Yes.
Are we walking in the parade?
I know Wiz is walking in the parade.
I have not, in my 3 years, I've walked in the parade with the fire department, but not as a select board, no. I'm sure we can if we want to, but.
I also have a quick question. So now that you have all your fire department or want all your fire department bills here, a lot of bills are invoiced through email. So is Vinny taking himself off of that, and will they come directly to the treasurer now? Is that what
you would wish? If we want all the bills to come to the town hall, I would assume that it either goes to, yes, right?
I think we should do that. It's probably gonna take a month or so for everything to catch up with itself, but I think all the bills should come here, date stamp, put in the respective folder.
Well, emails are just different, so you have to be.
Well, if they're coming to Vinny by email, he can forward them right into Julie.
Well, I mean.
That's the same thing with the invoices.
Well, exactly. That's usually
Plain
what was
simple.
happening with invoices, and you're asking for it not to happen now.
Yeah,
So-
that's what was happening with the invoices too.
So Vinny should take himself off of that, and they should be directed
Yes.
towards the treasurer then.
But I'm not quoting them, right?
No, you just
Put them in the.
date stamp when they come in, stick
Or-
them in their folder,
and then
they
is
come
she-
down and look at it.
Is she forwarding them to
They either have
Vinny?
their purchase order or whatever, however that's gonna work, and then they mark them for payment and,
But is she forwarding the email back to Vinny
no.
or printing the invoice?
But she can stick it in the folder and they can come down here and check it.
So printing the email with the invoice?
Yes.
Okay.
If they gave the purchase order number to the vendor, when they place the purchase order, it will be on the invoice.
Right.
Yes.
It won't be.
I know.
Just saying, that means-
He's working through it. We had a discussion. He's fine with it.
And I spoke to Julie also.
And also, the one that Howard had an issue with the February bill, that is an EMA grant, so that they've been continuously ordering from it. It was not officially due until June, so that's why so sometimes if we check with our department heads, we do get all of the answers.
My concern is it's not sitting on a desk somewhere when it comes in and then all of a
Well,
sudden say, gee, I
that's
didn't
why
pass
we
this in.
check. So,
I know he's waiting for stuff for the forestry grant to come in. He's still waiting for material.
yeah.
And it's not due till June. He has to close it out by June anyway, so we're fine.
Julie mentioned that
Thank you
she
for
was
that
willing to print reports for anybody that asked. Would it be possible just to send the file to Alicia, and just like we do with the warrants, and they're posted on the select board's page every week, rather than 10 of us asking for them and having her do it 10 times?
Yeah,
10
sure.
citizens asking for it, and, you know, that means we'll
people
do it once, and
People can still ask for it, and it have to be printed off through FOIA, so.
if it comes through FOIA, right,
We put
but
the file on the website.
just put the
That's all
file
they
on the
need.
website, just like the warrants are put it there, that's all.
Yes.
You
Thank you.
start printing that stuff out, it's gonna take reams of paper.
Correct, and emails and time. Thank you.
Do you gentlemen still want a hard copy?
Yes.
Bernie?
Yeah.
Okay, then John will get an electronic and you, Paul will get a hard copy every week.
So if you just CC me in it, then I can
Yes, ma'am.
put it online.
Any other hearing citizens? Yeah.
Great Falls, I noticed there was a $4,988.82. I thought we were done with them.
That was for the ceiling of the
For
concrete
the
floor.
ceiling of the floor, and they owed us a credit that we would do from the trees, and until they resolved that, they weren't gonna get paid. So they gave us our credit of,
Whatever it was, yeah.
yeah, $1,300,
Okay, so that's
$1,400
okay.
bucks. Yeah.
Community Dynamics, I think, what's your thing at there? I think he answered that. The $1,020.50, is that his retainer or something? The way the grant writer? Community Dynamics.
He sends in bills.
Yeah.
He sends in invoices
Yeah, so I mean, it's an ongoing thing
for detail right now.
Yeah.
right now. Okay, and that comes out of their account, all right. What is deep water quality for $1,890?
When was that? Last week?
April 28th.
I do not.
It was on the May 5th warrant. Just curious.
Do you have the warrant right there in front of you or no?
No, just my little
Okay.
handout,
I want
sorry.
to look to see what the account came
Yeah.
out of.
No, it was just, it was on the May 5th warrant. It was dated April 28th, deep water quality for $1,890.
That may be, it might be the test pits that they were doing down by the
Industrial
business
park? Business park, yeah.
and down over by the landfill, the old landfill.
Well, I know they were
It could
testing,
be.
but you never heard anything, the results, so just curious. So that, that was quick billing. Okay, just curious. Thank you.
I can look into the bill and have Alicia, someone will get back to you. Any further discussion? Hearing of citizens? I'm seeing none. I make a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Thank you. That's the administrative fee policy.